They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay.
Really, microphone? Come on, let's go get it. Alright. Okay, and everything coming in clear, everything coming in good. Alright, and what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Council of the Blerds. It's your boy Kendrick Grey, the Dreadlock Blerd, Black, with another week of consistency. We've been doing pretty good so far.
Yes.
We've been doing pretty alright, so we're in there. Today's Geekcast is going to be a pretty good one. We've talked about video games before, but this time we're actually going to tackle video games as it stands right now in the realm of the COVID-19 pandemic and everyone being quarantined and basically having to be stuck at home. So that's what our topic is going to be for today. Of course, joining us is the actual council. We have Kim. Say what's up to everybody.
Hey, hey, hey.
We have Tani.
Hey, guys.
We have my man HB Gibson in his new voice recording booth, which is actually really kind of dope. I'm kind of jealous right now. Like I kind of like that.
A quick joker. Batman. Okay. It's really good.
And we have two guests today. We have two guests. Please introduce yourselves to the Geekcast public.
Yes.
Oh, you want them to introduce themselves?
Yes,
or you
please.
Want to...
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let's start with Joss. Let's start with Joss, actually. Sorry.
Hi. It's fine. Full name is Jocelyn. I intend to go by Joss. I still kind of consider myself a gamer, besides, adulting and things getting in the way. So this has actually helped me catch up on a lot of the backlog. And Animal Crossing is taking up all of my time.
All right, and let's introduce our other guest. Let's go, with Mr. Frankie.
How's it going? My name is Frankie, also known as Toxic on Mixer, Toxic_LML. I'm a huge gamer, a dad too. My daughter is becoming a gamer, and this has really brought us to game a lot together. She's young, so it's like it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. But
dope, very
That's
dope.
awesome.
Awesome.
That's super
That's
dope.
truly awesome.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned before, we are going to be talking extensively about the video game industry as it stands during the COVID-19 pandemic. Like I said before, we've been relegated to having to stay at home for an indefinite amount of time. And as Josh has said before, this has actually given people a great deal of time to not only catch up on movies and TV shows that they didn't get to watch, but really a lot of video games that they never really had the chance or time to play. So
Right.
that's what this show is going to cover today. And like I said before, I know we've covered video games before, but this is different because it's a different climate going on right now. I believe Tani is supposed to be going first and discussing just exactly how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the video game industry as it stands right now.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Personally, I feel like a lot of us has probably had much more time to devote to games. Except for me, unfortunately. I haven't been home for a while. But once I get back home, I'm pretty sure that Ken and I will tackle, kicking each other's behinds in various games. But in terms of the industry, it's interesting. You wouldn't think, aside from people playing, I don't think people think too much about how the pandemic has affected this industry. And negatively, we have conventions, gaming conventions canceled, E3, Comic-Con, South by Southwest, and some shows have moved online. But I feel like moving a show online is not this. It's not the same energy. It's not the same. It doesn't feel the same. People probably don't. Again, I can't even further explain it other than that. It doesn't feel the same to have some of these conventions online. I can't even fathom doing Comic-Con virtually. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the other than that, I saw that when I was researching, I saw that virtual reality sales were down, which I'm not sure you can blame that on the pandemic. Is anybody into VR? I don't even know anybody into VR.
I want to be. Sorry.
No. Frankie and I are pretty much on the same head. I mean, I would listen, because life out there is horrible. I would love to live in VR for a little bit.
I've had the opportunity to work with some VR, and like, for me, I would love it to be at a better level, like a higher level of technology. Because like currently right now, for people like me who suffer from vertigo, like it is awesome for 5 minutes, and then it's the worst thing ever.
That's exactly why I hate it. That's exactly why I hate it. Oh my, the dizziness, the disorientation. It's no, absolutely not. I would probably be beside myself before I can take it off my head.
But the jump scares, though.
We're talking about the person who walks through a freaking real life haunted house and doesn't jump. Are you serious?
It could be different in VR.
For me, it was different. Ken and I were at Game & Buster's a couple of weeks ago, and we did the VR game, and we did a corny one, but it was still kind of cool. I feel like if we would have did a better one, we would have had a better experience. But I agree with what Frankie was saying. I think if that technology was improved a little more, I think I'd enjoy the VR experience a little more. Because it's like the concept is there, but not quite right now. Another thing I saw, that even though sales are up and player playing is up, I saw
production is scaled back. So it's like a you snooze, you lose situation right now. If you don't already have a gaming system, you probably ain't going to get one. Because a lot of production has been either shut down completely or scaled back due to people staff being sick or staff not being able to come to work, or just for warehouses, those types of warehouses probably being deemed non-essential, so they can't open right now. And same thing with retail centers, those are closed. So if you don't have an online system in place to actually purchase these games online, you're probably out of luck right now.
Right.
And then another thing is that a lot of game releases that were supposed to be coming out, this month, next month, and months down the road are being pushed back due to developers being working remotely. Now, at first, I was wondering why, because I'm like, okay, if you could still work, then why would production be pushed back? But at the same time, I kind of have to forget that for those who don't know, I've worked remotely for 6 years, so I'm used to this. I was built for this pandemic. I am perfectly fine. But other people are really not used to, having that work-life balance of, this is work time and then this is, me time or family time or whatever other time you do at home. And I did find that a lot of people are struggling with that. So, these game developers are probably doing the same thing with whatever's going at home. They now have to tackle that plus work. So game releases are pushing back. On a positive note, though, we were saying that, of course, usage is up. More people are playing. People have an excuse to pass the time. Oddly enough, this has nothing to do with video games, but it kind of sort of does. There's a pandemic board game.
What?
And
I've seen that before.
The developer of that game developed it when H1N1 was a serious thing. And so apparently the pandemic board game, those sales are up as well. When I did the research, it says that the NDP for the NDP group, and that's a marketing group that kind of scales sales on a national level, reported that game sales are up in North America. In 2020, they were up 34% from March 2019. And the hardware sales, even though production is pushed back, of course, there's other ones. There's systems that's already on the shelves. Gaming hardware is up by 63%, which is more than twice the number, includes more than twice the number of units of the Nintendo Switch. And also some games have been released early, including the game that Kendrick has been consumed with until he beat it, was Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Most of us are at that point.
That game.
I haven't played it yet. I actually have never been into Final Fantasy. Like, I always thought it looked cool, but I never really wanted to play it. It's weird.
I died for the first time. I am very highly upset. I am not enjoying this at all. No. No.
7's a good one to dive into first.
Yeah.
And then in terms of, of course, we've all been affected in some way, shape, or form by this pandemic, and people have been able to give back in different ways, and goes the same for the gaming industry. Nintendo, I know they donated almost 10,000 masks to the state of Washington. For people who don't know, Washington is where the first case in the U.S. was found, and by the end of February. So they donated. So they've been going in the trenches and going through this the longest. Nintendo donated about 9,500 masks to them. Wow. I saw that Twitch hosted a charity stream to raise funds for a response fund that supports WHO. And there are various developers, I'm not even going to name just one because there's a bunch of them, that have pledged to donate proceeds from their gaming sales to various charities to help fight and combat the virus. But that's all the good stuff. GameStop, I don't know. They were talking about they needed to stay essential. I'm like, I I guess
Man,
they
listen.
figured if liquor stores could be essential, why can't they be essential?
Man, listen,
But-
GameStop can go ahead somewhere,
Did
man.
you guys see that they were making their own hand sanitizer?
Oh, no, I did not see that. No.
Oh man,
No,
they're doing anything for a buck.
Oh, good gosh.
They're
But at the
putting their
same
own hand
time-
sanitizer
Really?
on labels, and they say they want to sell it overseas because the FDA isn't overseas. So after all this is done, they're going to try to sell it overseas.
Oh my God, that is so
Wow.
wrong.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
The struggle is real in GameStop.
But the thing is with GameStop, I mean, you are a retailer. And why aren't you like other retailers right now? Other retailers have closed and their online sales are booming right now. My cousin gets her deliveries here. She just ordered DSW, like shoes from DSW. And I'm like, where you going? And she like, I don't know. I just want to buy stuff. So people want to buy stuff, and you can and if you're, I said so, GameStop. If your if you had a better functioning e-commerce site, maybe you could make online gaming sales too.
Didn't they buy out ThinkGeek?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Sadly, they did. Because ThinkGeek used to be the dopest site to get like, really cool stuff. Now it's just like it's not even lame. It's AIM. They can't afford the L. It's AIM.
Like I'm thinking, it used to be like you'd be able to go on ThinkGeek and it was like you can find anything on ThinkGeek, and and I'm thinking about GameStop. Like, yeah, you can go on their website, you can buy stuff, but that's the last place I would actually think to look. To be honest with you, if I'm gonna buy something, I'm gonna go to Amazon.
Exactly. And they could sell their stuff on Amazon, but so many large retailers are so opposed to selling on Amazon. I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, they probably could definitely, but it's like looking at it, it's like, come on now. It's I think that's a lot of their problem. I have free shipping from Amazon and I get the same product. Why go to you?
Right.
Exactly.
And the only reason I would go to you before was convenience. I can go to the store and pick it up right now. If I can't do that, why am I going to go there anyway?
Exactly.
So I get their struggle entirely. But kind of knowing this, so sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the gaming industry, like I said, consumer side, we're all doing what we can to pass the time, and that includes playing games. On the industry side, yeah, it sucks that a lot of events have been canceled, and but they're doing what they can. It's safety first, right? So we have to. There's probably a lot of things that have to change. In terms of conventions, I have no idea. I've been trying to think of how conventions are going to continue once this is over. I have no idea how it's going to continue unless they just sell less tickets so that it's not as crowded, or what.
Well, that could be a totally different conversation within itself, because that in itself is like, for a geek nerd, whatever you call yourself, at this moment, if you're thinking about, my whole mindset was, I think that New York Comic Con is going to get canceled. Like, my whole mindset was like, at the beginning, I'm like, New York Comic Con though. I was like, this is like the first year I can go like forever.
San Diego was already canceled.
And if you've noticed, New York Comic Con hasn't put on any message about ticket sales or passes or none. So I'm of the same mindset of thinking also that perhaps New York Comic Con is probably going to be canceled this year as well. It sucks.
They cancel a lot of the smaller conventions in Jersey. So, the stuff that used to happen in Sea Caucus and things of that nature throughout the summertime, those are all canceled now.
Right.
So those are all done. And I know a lot of places are holding out for that last bit of it. But to be honest with you, even if that's the case, a lot of people I don't think are going to come out to that. But again, conventions themselves, that's going to be a whole different category of conversation entirely. But, going into like what's going on and what's been happening, Frankie, I have a question for you.
All right.
You are a gamer. And, right now, none of us here, with the exception of Joss, of course, own an Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
As an Xbox owner and as a player, how has this affected you?
I mean, It hasn't really affected Xbox too much. I know the big joke is because we don't have exclusives or whatever, and a lot of the games that were pushed back are third party anyway. So like we were already feeling all that. But as far as like a lot of multiplayer games, I've been seeing a lot more people on servers and stuff than usual. For Xbox, which I know for a fact from like being on Reddit and stuff, it's from people borrowing systems from their friends that haven't used them in a while, and just jumping into popular games like COD. Like it's blowing up like on the Xbox servers right now. So that's really how it's affected me. I just been seeing more players, which is just more fun in the end.
Is there any like lag or anything like that? Any issues as far as like this?
with how Xbox Live is structured, you shouldn't get too much, but with certain games, with however they're handling their servers, like again, COD and Activision, it's been all across the board, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, where they've been having some server issues, and that's definitely because of the influx in players.
Interesting. And right now, what are you playing right now?
So first one's out the window, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Really, this is like the first one I bought. Because I've been a hater forever, been a Battlefield guy, but playing that, Bleeding Edge, start replaying Hitman 1 again, Dishonored, and Minecraft with my daughter a lot.
Very cool, man.
Oh man, I mean, at least you're playing with, you're doing that daddy-daughter time, which is great.
So different from when I was coming up. I mean, like when I was coming up, it was like my mother and my father was like, when are you going to get off that thing? Now, today, it's like, son, give me that controller. Let me show you how it's done. I was doing the Hadouken. Before you could even play other characters. And in order for you to beat Ken, you had to put the quarter in on the other side and press two players, and you had to be on the right side. But you had to be Ryu all the time. Right. The only way to beat the boxer was just to crouch down and let him punch you until he got tired.
That's throwback.
I think my mother didn't care that I played video games. I kept to myself as a child anyway. So her buying me a Nintendo when I was 6 was just like, here and do you.
Yeah.
So
I think I kind of say the same thing with Sega. I was a Sega kid, so for me it was like I had Sega games. I remember my first game was Altered Beast, and I remember everybody came over to play that game.
Nice.
Yes. So
rise from your grave.
Yes.
I was the same way too as a kid. I was the Sega kid in the house. Actually, a lot of people I knew had. Actually, you know what? Let me take that back. A lot of people I knew had Super Nintendos. Everyone I knew had a Nintendo, but majority of my friends were Super Nintendo players. Only like a couple of friends I had were on the Sega Genesis kick. I was definitely the gamer of the house. It started with my older brother, but then it just trickled down to me, and I just kept it going ever since. My younger brother, he plays here and there. So does my niece. But other than that, not many other people in the house play. At one point, my mom thought it would have been a distraction, but that kind of just fizzled out over time.
It's so weird. My mom bought me my Nintendo, but my aunt, I used to be at my aunt's house a lot, and she had an Atari. So that was my first video game. And then my older cousins had Sega Genesis. I don't think he had a PlayStation. And then it was just a round robin between the cousins. So I had Nintendo, and then I think 2 of us had Super Nintendo, someone else had Sega, then one got N64, and we would just be at each other's houses, whatever we wanted to play, whatever game we wanted to play, whoever had the game, that's who house we go into.
Smart.
There it is.
That's how we used to do too. Like when somebody got a brand new, I got Sonic 1 and 3, or Sonic the Hedgehog. Somebody else has Sonic 2. We go over there and play Sonic 2 over there. Or you had the one cousin that had the first Super Mario. You had to go get the other cousin to get the other one. So you always had to bounce from cousin's to cousin's house because you're never borrowing games.
Oh yeah,
never
Exactly.
borrowing.
Wow.
That was a no-no.
I let my younger cousin borrow Donkey Kong one time, and he gave it back to me. No, he didn't give it back to me. He called me and told me, and he erased all the games after I had beat it.
Oof.
Oh.
And Donkey Kong 2 was actually pretty easy, so I beat it again pretty quickly, but still, I was just mad that he did it. And he did that. He said that phrase that I hate for dudes and men to say. He'd be like, "You mad?"
No.
Nah, I'm not mad.
Wow.
No, not at all.
Borrowing used to work for me. Like me and my one friend, we used to trade systems all the time. So like if I was done playing my Genesis, he would switch up SNES, and we would go back and forth like that. We did that all the way up to high school.
And no, nobody was touching my Sega because I was playing Walker until I was probably in my teens.
Yeah.
I was
like,
I was very protective of my Sega Genesis now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time my sister actually played it while I was like away for like a weekend, and I came back and all my power cords were all jacked up. I was so heated for like a whole week.
Man.
You have no idea. Luckily, Radio Shack was still a thing around that time. So I was able to go to Radio Shack and get the cords I needed. And once I realized Radio Shack carried it, I was like, oh shit, this is a Radio Shack. Hopefully Radio Shacks last for a little while. We all know how that went. But,
adapters, if your adapter's messed up, go to Radio Shack.
No. Here's the best part. Here's the best part. Who had that ABC switch or the AB switch for their TV?
Oh,
did I?
You know something? I have one now for the Sega Genesis that I don't use. Like,
you mean the one that goes from TV to game?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
RSU or something. There's like another thing.
Yes.
I
I had to think about I don't remember the name of it. I just remember you had to go over there. You had to hook everything up. You hook it in. You had to hook your cable into one piece, the TV into the output, and the other one's into the input. And you had the AB, and it was ABC or something like that or whatever. I just remember being so mad about that switch because if you lost that switch, that was it. You had to like literally unplug your TV from the cable, plug up the game system, and then unplug. Too much.
We had to turn to channel 3.
Yep.
Yes.
We had to turn to channel 3.
All that too.
Yeah.
You had to do that too. Yep. Yeah.
All the way up through like the Xbox original.
Memories. Oh my goodness. Goodness. Let me see. Did I have another question? I did have another question, but we got sidetracked so hard though. I don't remember.
Great conversation.
We got sidetracked so hard. Is there anything you're anticipating right now for the Xbox? So you know a lot of things are being like delayed and everything else.
Yeah.
Is there
I mean, with Xbox in general, they just today released 13 trailers for a bunch of games, some of which you've already seen trailers for. Those one game that was like announced 7 years ago that's now getting released, but those are all coming out for the Series X, and I am 100% looking forward to that. That's going to be the first one I buy of the next gen. But on that, I mean, the only thing I'm really, really, really looking forward to on Xbox, because you get it both for Series X if you buy it for the Xbox One, Cyberpunk 2077. Whoa. That is the more news they release about that game, and it was supposed to be released like last month or 2 months ago, and it got pushed back to the fall. So
it's the most beautiful game that I've never played yet. It is.
Also, the world is created by a brother, so
yes,
originally.
Nice. Yes. That is awesome. So if you had to convince us, non-Xbox owners,
mm-hmm.
and if you had to say one thing to convince us to get an Xbox, what would you say?
It's definitely, I mean, you got Halo Infinite coming out. You also have the fact that Microsoft has already just showcased what the Xbox Series X can do, what it looks like, how powerful it actually is. And Sony right now is talking about a hard drive that makes their graphics better, which if you know anything about computers, that sounds stupid. To say your hard drive is going to make your graphics better. They seem to be focusing on, I don't even know what they're focusing on, honestly. It's hard to tell with Sony. And before, when it was the PS4, Sony was like straight and open, and they told you what it was about, and that's how they got a lot of support from the gaming community. Now it's like, don't know, but definitely looking forward. I'm gonna get both. That's without a doubt, because there's some games coming out for that I definitely want to hop on. But for Xbox, it's definitely that Microsoft is finally being transparent, and they have Game Pass. Like, that's it. Like, you can literally play a million games for like $1. Like, it's stupid.
Wow, that's awesome. So
sorry, that was long-winded.
No, you're the guest.
It's informative. So, like, I don't have an Xbox. No offense, I'm not intending on even getting an Xbox. I'm Sony for life at this point. But definitely, for somebody who doesn't know, that was very informative, because I didn't even hear about half of that stuff. So that's awesome.
My philosophy of like gaming and stuff is like, if you're having fun, no matter what you're playing on, it's awesome. Like, you're a part of this community. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's great. And that's actually a good segue into this, because, you know, we do have a PC gamer here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have a PC gamer here. You know, he's hiding in the corner over there. You know.
I'm a PC gamer right now, really out of like no financial choice at the moment, because and during this pandemic situation, people are laid off, including myself and everything. So, our funds are a little bit limited. So we have to enjoy the games that we can get our hands on, and the games that are available online that you can play for free. Yeah. I have been watching a lot of gamers on YouTube, and I tell you, I really got turned on to playing horror games, Five Nights at Freddy's. There's a wonderful series of games from a company called Puppet Combo. And Puppet Combo, they make these games on purpose to look like PS1 graphics. And they do it, and every horror game has a theme, which is like an 80s style horror. So like when you're playing it, they literally make it look like you're watching a video, like a VHS. It looks grainy, and it has this 80s horror vibe, and the titles like Babysitter Bloodbath, Nun Massacre, Night Watch, Stay Out of the House, and games like that. I'm playing games like that, Night Ripper, The Power Drill Massacre. Those games like that. It's like if you want to just play some games, and like if you're into horror, and I'm not really a big horror fan, but then when I started really getting into it, I said, well, Harold, you're a huge Resident Evil fan, so why wouldn't you dig this? So all right, so I started playing these games, and there's some free games on a site called I think it's called itch.io, and there's like a ton of horror games that you can play. As a matter of fact, I was playing a game yesterday called Dead Inside, and like you're literally stuck in your apartment trying to figure a way out, and there's clues all over the place, and there's this insane knocking on the door, and you don't know whether or not you want to open the door or not. Should I just solve the clues first, or should I open this door? And then there's another game that I just played based on a monster that was those SCP type monsters like Momo and Slender Man. Well, somebody made another one called Siren Head. It is the creepiest looking thing ever. So it's a short game. You're gonna be playing like that's it. But hey, listen, the damn thing is creepy as hell. So. But that's what I've been playing, and I've also been playing a lot of retro games. I'm a huge retro gamer. I love the old games. When you were talking about Atari 2600, there's a ton of Atari 2600 games that you can play online for free. I was able to download some. on a SD card because I have something called the Atari Flashback, which is like a plug and play, and you can download. I can literally say that I own every Atari game that's ever been made, plus some homebrews, and I could just click it right into the Atari Flashback, and I could just go to the SD card and just play everything. You name an Atari game, I got it, literally. So. Also, I've been on other sites that have emulators, like for Super NES, for Sega Genesis. But I'm going to pass it on after I do this. I'm going to talk about one particular favorite game of mine. I played it on something called the Commodore 64.
Woo!
All right, the Commodore 64.
Throwback.
That was.
Harold, you're telling your age right now.
That was
Don't even matter. Doesn't look it.
As of April the 8th of this year, I have turned 50.
Woo!
Congrats.
Yes, I have turned 50. Thank you. Hashitashi, thank you. Okay. One of my favorite games that was released back in '84. What was the name of the company? I think it was Borderbound. I'm not sure. It was developed by a gentleman by the name of Jordan Mechner. It's a game called Karateka. And Karateka, it was basically a side-scrolling beat-'em-up game, but it had a story. You didn't feel like you were just playing a side-scrolling beat-'em-up. You literally had to, the physics of the fighting. When Jordan created this thing, he really thought this through. Like, listen, it's not like Street Fighter where you just press kick and the foot just comes out. No, you have to time it. That, like, and Kendrick, it takes effort to do a roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
So you got to time that thing, and it takes timing. It takes effort to put, to do a straight punch or a low punch and a low block. Even the blocks and everything. The movement of the sprites, along with the music, even though the music was kind of bleep and blurty, the movement of the characters, along with the music, made the story actually was pretty emotional. Like, there was one scene where in the game, you are a karate warrior that's on a mission to save Princess Mikado from Emperor Akuma. And when the henchmen come in and you could look at them, you could just look and see that the henchman is giving Akuma a report. And then you just see the music. You just hear the music. The guy runs in. Da-da-da-da-da-da, here's Akuma. and then Akuma goes, da-da, and then he bows and then runs out. So you know that he's like, get him, kill him. So within the limits of the technology back then, with the music, with the graphics, Karateka succeeds in telling a good story. And that's pretty much my absolute favorite retro game at this time. So that's what I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of retro games. I've been playing a lot of PC games that are online that I could just download for free. I'm gonna close it out with this. The last horror game that I played is a point-and-click game. It's really cool. It's called Darkseed, and it features the artwork of H.R. Giger. So check that one out. See if that doesn't creep.
Can I make a quick game?
I don't think I've looked at a PC game since internet first started for me, like in the 90s. It's so weird. I don't even. Oh my God! When I was in college, we had this thing. We had this guy in our class who used to hack the computer systems in school, and we used to all play. And we wouldn't play Doom against each other. We would all play Quake.
Oh, nice.
Against each other.
Yeah.
And like it would be like different classrooms, and like and every semester we would come back to school, and of course the systems were wiped and they got rid of Quake, but somebody would always put it back. And that's what I went to school for art and design, so we're sitting behind these computer screens for like 6 hours. But we're playing.
Yeah.
That was Counter-Strike when I was in college. When I was in college, the doors were all open, and you're sitting in the dorms, and you hear people screaming down the hall, "Youth!" And I'm like, you know what it is, because like as soon as you walk in the hall, you're like, oh God. Especially being where I went, you were like the one of like 3 or 4 females on the floor. So you're like going amongst this co-ed, dorm, and you're like just hearing these males just scream all across down the hall with their doors open. You're like, oh my goodness. I mean, did you take a shower today? Did you at least do that? Goodness.
I know the only other retro game. I mean, retro. My version of retro, meaning stuff that was popular when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Was. Those are the games I still rather play. And actually, after Ken and I saw Sonic, I was like, you know what? Let's go home and play Sonic. And
that had a totally different. Like, I hate to say it, games suck in a sense now because they have a storyline and they're very artistic and they're very beautiful. But I beat a game in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I asked a question on Twitter a while ago, and I didn't really get an answer for it. When it comes to games today, like, can you even consider games today? Like, there's still video games that are actual, like, games where there's an objective to win or you're competing against something to win. But then there's games that are so story bound and stuff. It's like, is this really a game or is this a whole nother multimedia experience?
Like, I have no.
I understand what you're saying with that. Yeah,
Frankie, you
I have no interest in those stories. In all honesty,
but Frankie,
that's why the only game I play. That's why the only game I play now really is fighting games with Kendrick, because we're playing against each other. But other than that, I would rather play Mario. I would rather play Sonic, and I would rather. I used to like racing games. Ken doesn't. My gaming experience is based entirely on Ken because he's the one who buys the games. I don't. So I used to like racing games. I guess I don't anymore because he doesn't buy them. So.
But Frankie,
But and honestly, like, I think a lot of it's more interactive movies, interactive storylines. Right. That's the way I look at a lot of the games now. It's more of an interactive storyline. You kind of go through and you're playing into this, which is a beautiful thing now. Don't get me wrong. I think it's still a game experience depending on the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It depending on the game. A lot of these games, a lot of with QTEs and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff, you're really not playing. You're just kind of pressing a button and it does the same thing. Like, some of my favorite games like that. You got Heavy Rain, more recently Detroit Becoming Human. Those games are I
had to play that.
I still haven't I haven't beat it yet because I'm so afraid to beat the game right now because I want to keep replaying it. That's how beautiful the game is for me. Like, I love games that tell stories like that where you can kind of like Bandersnatch, where you basically keep playing the game and it's different every single time you play it.
Finally, I'm not the only one that likes Bandersnatch. Thank God! What the heck, man?
No, bro. Dude, I did a show about Bandersnatch, and I did an interactive, I
remember that. I watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't finish it.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch was awesome, and that's why I like those games because, like I said, Heavy Rain, that one, Detroit Becoming Human. I'm trying to think of the other one in between all of that. But these QTE, what was the other one?
Until Dawn.
Then there's the most recent one, Beyond Two Souls. Man, yes, exactly. All these games, I own them all. I'm not like I don't. I own them all, and it's because I like the story. So I like the storyline. I like being able to change the story. But you have games that are like completely and utterly all game. Like you said, your Call of Duties, your even like if you were playing, your Tomb Raiders. Imagine like Tomb Raider then to Tomb Raider now. It's a totally different experience.
Yeah, because back then you had puzzles. You actually had puzzles and things to solve to get into said room, to get to this treasure and figure things out. It made you use your brain, and that's what makes a game to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now, what happened, Josh? I'm sorry.
Games now just want to break your heart. Like they just.
There you go. Where's the replayability?
So
that's what I'm saying. That's why I like the games, the QTE games that I like because of the fact that I can keep replaying them. But a lot of these games, once I beat them, That's it. They're done. And the only time I'm going to replay them is just in the sense of trophies. Because I'm a trophy hunter. That's it. That's the only time I'm going to play them. So after I'm done playing it, that's it, And just to let you know, my max is I played a game 12 times just to get all the trophies.
Wow.
Just an FYI. It hurt bad.
That's still missing one trophy in Fallout 3.
But yeah, that's about But that's a good question though. That's a very good question because of the fact that nothing's the same anymore, really.
I got the Witch Slayer award on the cheat And after a while, they did away with that, like with the witch. If you ever played Left 4 Dead, you had to walk up on the witch and time it real good and blast her in the head. I killed her by setting her on fire and just running away. But they stopped that. They did something where you are not able to do that anymore. You have to kill her.
See, me and my friends, we just set it up so that we each got a turn. So, like, you go to the level, everybody was surrounded, make sure she's, like, they're able to take her down real quick, and then you just wait with the shotgun, and then we each took a turn, basically.
Yes!
But just for, like, other PC gamers, I was actually telling Harold about this as well. For people that are on a budget,
right.
If you are on on a budget and you're able to spare, a couple of dollars, maybe $20 or less, there is a website called Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle. And what they do is you go on that website. It's a donation website. So if you donate a certain amount of money, you can get a certain amount of games for free, whatever they're providing for free for that month. Not for free, but as part of your donation. Right. And if you donate $20, you get the maximum. So I think the last one, and I have to go on the website again to actually see, but I think the last one was actually a really good deal. And what they usually do is that they'll usually go in with different developers to make up the bundles and things of that nature. Let's see what today is. It's all right this month. It's all right this month. Last month was better, but last month was a little better. But if you're definitely a little strapped for cash,
yeah.
They have many different offers, many different packages that you can go through. And if you can afford it, they do have like a yearly subscription or a monthly subscription that you can go through, and you can buy that subscription.
Oh,
and,
sweet.
Yeah, you get your choice of whatever you want for the the months or whatever. So definitely check it out if you are on a budget and you definitely are a PC gamer, because you can definitely download those on Steam 95% of the time. And I remember when I first got my laptop, I went there and I got like eight games, and I was so happy. I was so excited. Have I played those games?
You'll get to them.
Eventually. It's just not now. Go ahead.
For another choice for PC gamers too, especially if you don't have a gaming PC per se, it's PlayStation Now. With PlayStation Now, you don't download the games, you're streaming the games. So if you have a good enough internet connection for Netflix, you can stream PS4 games and some PlayStation Classic games. I think it's like right now, I know they put Spider-Man up there, which I was pissed off because I just bought a PS4 and canceled my Now and bought Spider-Man. It was like, oh man. But they got Spider-Man on there and a bunch of other games. God of War's on there. So like if you were looking to touch those, and your computer, like I said, if your computer can run Hulu and Netflix, you can play that. And then for Xbox with Game Pass, that's on PC as well too. Except for you're not streaming that, you're downloading those games, so you do have to have a gaming PC.
Wow.
But like there was a game I was thinking about when you were talking about, huh? Sorry, I thought there was a game that I was thinking about when you were talking about Karateka. I forgot
Karateka.
Yeah, Karateka. It's on Game Pass and on PC. It's called Absolver. It's a fighting RPG where you create and mix and match your own fight styles.
I actually played that for a little bit.
Players running around? Huh?
I actually played that for a little bit. It's actually a really good game. I might re-download it again. I thought it was an interesting little premise. It was a pretty good little indie game. So yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yep. Nice. It's like if Tekken was an RPG and you created your own fight style.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you learn moves from fighting other people online and other NPC characters. Like you learn their moves by successfully blocking and dodging them, and you can combine them into your own thing. Same with weapons and stuff too. It's hard too. It's punishing.
Yeah. It is.
I'll bet.
Nice.
All right. Cool.
But
PlayStation Now. Okay, I'm gonna say that.
Yeah. Speaking of the PlayStations and all that stuff, our resident PlayStation connoisseur over there, Kendrick, You got some things to say, I'm guessing, right?
Oh boy. Oh man.
You got to show off, because we got an Xbox player here.
So, like,
I support everything.
now, I mean, like, I support video games in general, whether you're a Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Sega, PC, whatever you game on, just game on it and enjoy it. But I've been a PlayStation fan since the first one. I've owned every single PlayStation console there's been. The only thing I never owned was any of the handhelds. I never got a PSP. I never got a PS Vita. I thought about it, and honestly, I'm going to say this right now. I think the PSP might have been ahead of its time. I think if the PSP came out now, I think it would really do gangbusters. It did well when it was out, but I don't think people really appreciated what they had at the time until they stopped, producing it.
I use my Vita as my controller when my controller was dead.
And that part I really liked a lot because, like I got all the PlayStation apps on my phone. I got, the regular app. I got the Messenger app. I got the Remote Play. I got all that stuff. All that stuff is cool, but I'm really not going to sit there and play a game on my phone that's on my system when my system is here. And because the fact that we are quarantined, I don't have to play it on my phone. That doesn't make any sense. But I appreciate the innovation on Sony's part. So far all we've gotten was the controller for the PS5. I'm like, that's great. Show us the console now. Let's see the console finally. Like y'all really teasing us for like no reason. Like y'all would y'all would be like super excited to show us what the console looked like. But like I don't know, they're like really playing it close to the chest for some reason right now, and I don't understand that. You're talking to a person who had a first generation PS1, first generation PS2. I had the first generation PS3, the Fat Boy. I had that.
Me too. And I sold it, and I was very upset I did that. That was the dumbest move I ever made.
What if the controller is it? What if it's like what was that, Stadia? Stadia? What if that's it?
That would be really crazy. I'm not opposed to it. If they have like
it's
a good,
too early for that.
If they have like a solid infrastructure with that, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But right now, I don't know. That's a rough one.
I'm not in a rush to see it.
Exactly.
I'm not in a rush because you know what my problem is with, and this is with any console, is that first generation sucks.
Oh yeah.
First gen always sucks, so I'm not in a rush to see it, and it's always going to change by the time they get to like the 1 terabyte memory.
Yeah.
PlayStation. So I'm literally just sitting here going, okay, I'm going to wait till you finish getting all the games and get the terabyte out, so I don't have to, plug in get an extra hard drive so I can actually download all my games like I have to do now.
Like when I
still do that even with the bigger hard drive.
I mean, but like that tripped me up when my PlayStation 4 didn't have any room. I was like, the hell is this? This isn't supposed to happen. So then I had to get an external hard drive for it. I'm like, this is bullshit. This doesn't make any sense. But my PS3, like I said, I have my Fat Boy. God, I miss my Fat Boy. I unfortunately fell victim to the yellow light of death 3 times. Three times with that. And the absolute last time, I actually ended up fixing it myself, but I only fixed it just enough so I could transfer all my info from my old PS3 to my new one. So I have a PS3 Slim. But it was my PS4. I'm getting a lot of. I think I get a lot more play out of my PS4 now than I did in the earlier months of it. I mean, I didn't get the PS4 right away.
That's all the consoles. They sucked in the beginning. This generation was terrible.
Like, you want to know when I got my PS4? I got it that one Christmas that the system got hacked. The system when the system got hacked, and I could not play my PS4 for at least a month when I got it. I was so mad.
Wow.
I was so heated.
I bought my PS4. I think I bought my PS4 right when Arkham Knight was getting ready to come out. I think that's when I bought it.
Okay.
Right before Arkham Knight was getting ready to come out, that's when I finally bought a PS4. Because
that's another game sitting there I can't play.
What? No. But right now I am currently playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yes, I'm still playing it, even though I beat it. This is this is actually the first time I'm ever doing like a trophy hunt. I'm not usually a trophy hunter. Whatever I get is what I get. Like if I happen to get one in later game plays, then it's cool. But this is like taking me back to '97 when the original Final Fantasy VII came out. Like before that, I didn't know nothing about Final Fantasy VII. Like I didn't know nothing about Final Fantasy. I would see like the Super Nintendo like stuff at like the video store. I would see those games and stuff like that. But until then, I ain't really know nothing about Final Fantasy VII until my boy came over one day and he was like, dude, you got to play this. So then we started playing. I still own the original. I still own the PS1 Final Fantasy VII. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I don't got no PS1 anymore, but I still got it. Now, I'm not going to go, first things first, I'm not going to talk about the ending because I don't know who beat it or not. I don't know, Kimmy, I don't know if you beat it yet. So I'm going to.
No, I died, and I'm not going to. Okay, you're going to know where the first time I died in the game ever. And remember, I'm playing on easy. I'm mad.
Yeah.
I am angry.
Yeah.
I am angry.
Trust me, I have spent impromptu hours beating certain bosses in this game. And
okay. I'm gonna say one thing. That big machine on the highway. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, that takes a minute. I
haven't gotten there yet, but it took me like 4 tries on Hell House, and I was streaming. Oh, I was pissed. I threw my microphone across the room.
Yeah, hell I can tell you right now, like the bosses that gave me a lot of trouble were Reno. Actually,
I actually had no issue with him.
I had an issue with Reno for a little bit. Reno, Rude, Hell House. What else was that? The Abzu in the sewer that gave me a lot of trouble.
None.
The second try.
But
I was actually shocked, and I guess because I was playing. And I'm not gonna say because even on easy is hard. I didn't understand that. I'm like, why is your easy mode hard? I'm like, this is not funny anymore. Yeah. I'm like, I'm legit mad. Like fights are taking me so long, and I only have one thing to say, Aerith.
Look, man,
Aerith.
I was almost done with her. I was literally almost done with her. Right now, I'm doing the other battle simulations right now. I'm doing like the major one in chapter 17, and like I was stuck on one night, and I'm like, Aerith, like why are we like this? What? I mean, I finally figured it out last night. I finally figured it out, and I won one. But the one thing there's a lot of things I can say about this game. I'm not going to spoil anything, of course. I'm not going to give away the ending if you don't know what it's about. You know that I already did a video on that. I did a review. You can go to my YouTube channel for that and check that out. But for those of you who don't know, this Final Fantasy VII Remake only covers the Midgar section of the game. So there's obviously 2 or 3 more parts coming out to this. So it's not even done. No. I gotta say though, I still had a whole lot of fun playing this game, and I think one of the main reasons why I really enjoyed playing the remake. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but this reminded me a lot of the new God of War that came out for PS4 also, and I had a lot of fun playing that too. Like
this reminds me more of, and it's going to be a really bad comparison. It's going to be a really stupid comparison because it's an obvious comparison. It reminds me of Kingdom Hearts.
A lot of people have been saying that actually, and I've never played Kingdom Hearts. I was never really interested in Kingdom Hearts like that. I know I have a lot of friends that played like every single installment in the series, but
yeah, me.
Yeah. But yeah, like even when I started playing the remake, it's like this reminds me a lot of the new God of War. Just the way on you got to build up your equipment and getting like certain things to like build up the magic to it, and and it's funny because before the new God of War came out, the only experience I had with God of War was God of War 1 and God of War 3. I was never a big God of War fan. Something spurred me to get the one for PS4 for some reason, and I don't know what it was. But once I got it, I was like, this game is too damn fun. It doesn't make any sense. And just like the God of War series, and just like you said, Kim, there's parts in the remake that are so hard it doesn't make any sense. It's like really ridiculous. But at the end of the day, I still had a lot of fun playing it. I'm really interested to see where they take the remainder of the series because, like I said before, the remake subtitle in the name, it goes way beyond what you think it is For those of you who don't know, the remake is like a multiple level meaning to that. But you know, I really enjoyed. I'm still enjoying the game, of course. I'm probably not going to play it tonight. I'll probably play it again at some other point.
Is T.C. Carter still doing the voice of Kratos?
No, the person who does the voice of Kratos in the new God of War is Christopher Judge.
Oh, Christopher Judge.
Christopher Judge does the voice, and he actually does a pretty damn good job. Actually, I'm not going to lie. Actually, the whole and is what you said, Frankie. That was the key word. It's an experience now, because that's what I got that from God of War. I got that from Final Fantasy Remake. I even got that from Mortal Kombat 11. Like I love all the new Mortal Kombat games. Like from Mortal Kombat 9 all the way up to 11, I enjoyed that because, you know, like video fighting games more so didn't really start getting into the whole story mode bit until maybe about like what 2010. 9, 10, something.
It was definitely last gen,
yeah, like right, still around the PS3 times. So, because like I think the first one for me that did it was Tekken. I think Tekken was the first one to like really jump into the.
What was it, like Tekken 6?
Yeah, Tekken 6, exactly.
Yeah.
That was the first one. Like Tekken 5 kind of did it. They played around with it with cutscenes and stuff, but Tekken 6 was the one that really jumped into the big story mode type thing. And just like you, Kim, I'm a big fan of like the story mode experience in games, even fighting games as well. So like, even like playing like Mortal Kombat 11, like the first thing I said to myself, I can't wait to play the story mode. Because like I have a specific order in how I play games, especially fighting games. Fighting games to me goes like this: it's the story mode for it. I'm playing that first. Then I do all the latter stuff, like get all the endings and all that other stuff, and then in between that I play like player 1, player 2 gameplay and all that. Exactly, and all that stuff. But I will say anyone who is a big fan of Final Fantasy, I think you're going to enjoy it. The ending, that's going to be entirely up to you, whether you like it or not. Me?
I mean, and even if, like, people that don't, like, honestly, people like me who have never played Final Fantasy, I think you're going to find it and be interesting, because I've never played one, and the only connection I've had to it is Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
So, like...
You gotta play those older ones.
Yeah, I know, and I missed my opportunity because they were on sale last month. Mm-hmm. They were all on sale last month, and I missed my opportunity to buy them all. But I'm like, okay, I'll live.
It's so crazy that you mentioned that, because I actually own Final Fantasy 15. I have that game, 15. And
and they said it was worse. I heard.
I didn't even finish it. I think I lasted like maybe a week with it. But
you know what it is with 15?
Yeah,
it's like they did their best to try to make a game that was appealing to new fans as well as to old fans, which I think they did, especially with including like soundtracks from Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 12, and 10 as well. But it was a love it or hate it experience. Like you either, I haven't met anyone that was like, oh yeah, it was all right. It was either I absolutely hate it or absolutely loved it. And like you said, you didn't like it. I loved it. That's literally how it is with that game.
I think I might go back to it, because one of the things I think that makes Final Fantasy VII Remake so well is like they took the mechanics that were implemented in 15 and they improved on it. I think after playing 7 Remake, I think I'm actually gonna give 15 another shot and try to like get through it, because I like the story behind it, but
it's pretty unique for Final Fantasy,
exactly,
which is already unique.
Yeah, exactly. All the other ones, like 7, aside from 15 and Remake, 7 was the only one I played. I wasn't really big into 8, 9. I had a friend that had 10 and 10 too. And all the other ones I didn't really like jump into. 7 was like the maximum for me, but 15 I got into because it was like it reminded me of 7, so to speak. So I was just like, you know what? Let me get back into the Final Fantasy game with this, and then like I said, I lasted a week, but I think I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it another shot at some point, and then just see how it goes, because the story itself, like I said, is pretty dope. So.
I'll give you this much for 15. Take the easy route on chapter 13 of 15, because the other route is the one that everybody hated, that is talked on YouTube all the time.
Like I mean, like I said, I'm still loving my system. I got a PS3 and a PS4. I'm still getting good amount of play from both consoles. 5, again, I'm not gonna jump into 5 right away. I'm gonna wait at least maybe at the very least a half a year after its release, so they can work all their mess out and all that other good stuff. The games I'm looking forward to are actually and this is, I think, 2 of these games are games that were supposed to come out earlier, but everything had to hold it back. Ghost of Tsushima is one thing I am super excited for. I was super excited for once the trailer dropped. And I'm like, yeah, this is the game I need right now. It's supposed to be coming out on July 17th, so let's hope they stick to that release date, because there's another game that it reminded me of. I think Sekiro's Shadows Die Twice.
That's such a game's so hard.
Yeah. That's a lot of my friends said that game is really hard. But I'm definitely looking forward to Ghost of Tsushima. That comes on July 17th. Marvel's Avengers I'm looking forward to also. And it's funny because the only other Marvel game I own, except from Marvel vs. Capcom and all that other stuff, is the Marvel Spider-Man game. And I still didn't finish that. I'm still playing that right now. So but I actually enjoy the Marvel Spider-Man game. I thought that was an interesting take for them to release that first before releasing the Avengers game. But I think the Avengers game looks really, really good. That's supposed to be coming out September 4th. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. Same thing like you, Cyberpunk 2077. Yep. That is like, if I had to create a tier, it would be Cyberpunk 2077, Ghost of Tsushima, and Marvel's Avengers. Like, once I saw the trailer for Cyberpunk, I was like, yeah, this seems like the game that I'm really going to be enjoying playing. Then of course, the fact that Keanu Reeves is in it, I was like, this sounds about right. Like having Neo in there, just kind of fits. But just the overall, just every piece of news that they dropped for the game is like, yeah, like just come out already. Like stop teasing us right now and just come out so we can play. Because
I could care less about glitches and bugs at this point.
Yeah,
I just want to play.
Like I'm pretty sure DLC patches will fix all that. So just roll it out.
Yeah, but you don't want to Fallout 77 on that one though. You don't want to Fallout. You don't want a Fallout moment on that.
Yeah.
You want that game to come clean. From what I'm hearing, I haven't been watching trailers because I've done that on purpose because I actually have like 8 games that are sitting up there right now that I haven't even touched. That I need to at least touch. So yeah, but you don't want a game to come out and just be like a total like upset once it happens.
Yeah, and in fact, the most immediate thing I'm looking forward to is Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the trailer that dropped yesterday, but it did a lot of things for me. The first thing it did, it reaffirmed me that video games, especially fighting games, could add DLC patches to the story. Like, Mortal Kombat, as far as I know, Mortal Kombat has never done that before. I don't think Tekken's even done that before either. I think Street Fighter might be the only one that's done it. And I haven't touched Street Fighter in a minute. I don't even have Street Fighter 5. And you would have thought I would have had Street Fighter 5 a long time ago. But for some reason, I just didn't jump on that bandwagon. I'll eventually get it because it's Street Fighter. But for some reason, I didn't jump on it right away. But, the fact that there's like a expansion to the story mode for Mortal Kombat 11 is definitely has me on edge for excitement. The fact that they're bringing Shiva back, RoboCop's going to be a guest fighter in the game, which is going to be interesting, but not unexpected because the Terminator's already in there. And just like Mortal Kombat X that had Alien and Predator, now we're going to have RoboCop versus the Terminator, so that's going to be a fun little exchange. But the one thing I am super excited about is that my boy Fujin is back. I've been wanting Fujin back in the game since Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Is that correct? That was the last game he was in. But Mortal Kombat 4, Fujin was my go-to. So the fact that he's back now has me super excited. But that comes out May 26th, so that comes out at the end of the month. So trust and believe I'm going to be on that like ASAP. Like, it's not even a joke. Other than that, I'm just waiting for them to show us the PS5 console. That controller, okay, that's great. And more often than not, people are going to get different controllers also made by other companies. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But just show us the console already, please. Okay? I'm tired of seeing all these concepts.
But do you think as well, just like to throw this out there, do you think the reason they may not be showing it is because maybe they don't think the consumerism is going to be there by the time the release is going to happen?
That's a high
I think
possibility.
it's more that they're just trying to redesign.
Yeah. I mean, it could be any
redesign thing, like anything of what they want it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So Xbox having their tower, and maybe they're like, should we go tower? Should we stay flat? Like they're probably just stuck with that. For some reason, I imagine the PS5 looking like a triangle. Like I just I keep thinking it's just going to be like that pyramid, that saber pyramid from The Office. Like that's what the PS5 is going to end up being. Like,
Because let's be real, PlayStation, with the exception of the very first PlayStation, they've been pretty consistent with their design. It's always a rectangular shape with a drive on either the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and that's pretty much how it goes. Like the PlayStation 2 had like the
long.
Yeah, like it was like a whole building. It looked like a whole building.
Yes. It was a tower.
It was just a straight tower, and granted, all the PlayStations, with the exception of one, can stand up. You know, I only do that here and there. Usually I keep my systems flat. Like only stand it up if I want it to look fancy. But other than that, I keep it flat.
Mine stay standing at this point. I never lay down. That's for a few reasons. That's for a few reasons. But I keep them standing, and I think if they put a flat down system, I think I'd kind of be upset. If it was just a straight going back to the beginning, you can only lay it flat type of system, I would be very highly upset.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people come up with their own concept of what the system would look like. Some of them are way out there. They don't even make any
concept drawings.
Exactly, don't even make any sense. Like I remember the first concept for the PS3. The system itself looked good, but I remember that batarang controller that they had. I'm like, and I ain't gonna lie, I kind of wanted that. Like I kind of wanted that batarang controller. Like, wait a second, this might be kind of good. I might want to use this. So I was kind of mad when they went with like the PS 2 controller concept. But I don't know. Like Sony's gonna have to figure out something because people are gonna get to a point where it's like whatever, you know.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think a lot of it with PlayStation, you're gonna have your loyalty as well. So I think a lot of people, just like Xbox, people switched over when they had that whole ordeal when the last Xbox came out. They switched over to PlayStation. I know a lot of people are probably gonna switch over because they have to get a new system or they want a new system. Yeah. But I think with them kind of holding out, they might be actually doing something good in a sense. Especially right now in this time, because a lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people don't have the money. People are going to have to rebuild. Yeah. All this stuff is going to happen. So by the time Christmas comes, people may not have the funds
that's true.
Available to put that out. Also, you got to think too, a lot of people are not working in Japan. So a lot of things are happening out there. And and that'll probably lead us into my little rant is going to go on about the Nintendo Switch in a second. But there's a lot of things happening over there. And I'll just probably just go into it now as far as the Switch is concerned, because I'm a little ticked off.
But real quick, what do we think about the backwards compatibility for the PS5? Do we think it's going to be a thing? Because
it hasn't been a thing for a while. I mean, even with the since the PS, last PS3, when they put out the higher memory one, they took away the backwards compatibility. And I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I've never had an issue. I'm like, if I really love a game that much, I'll rebuy it for my new system. I'll download it. Yeah. But that's just me. I had and there's only a few. I can only count on one hand how many games those are. And it's BioShock and Heavy Rain. Those,
because I even entertained the idea of getting the PlayStation now also, because I've looked at it a little bit before, but I didn't jump into that pool yet, and just like you, there's only so many games for the first few generation systems that I would really want, like at one point I owned the entire Tekken series from Tekken 1 all the way to Tekken 6. I owned the whole thing. I don't anymore. The only Tekkens I have are 6, Tag 2, and 7. and I think 5. I still wait. Yeah, no. 5 was on PlayStation 2, right? No, I don't have 5 anymore. So so it's 6,
Okay.
7, and Tag 2. Those are the only ones I own right now. But
I think Sony put themselves in a good place with PlayStation Now when it comes to backwards compatibility. Like, while on the one hand, I would love for them to have backwards compatibility, join that whole Xbox thing with it. Yeah. But on the other, they've already like pleased everyone or quieted anyone who was really vocal about it with PS Now. It's like, if you don't have PlayStation Now by now, then you're obviously not the customer for it.
Right.
Keep buying your games.
So like, so I think at some point I will probably, I will most likely jump into the PlayStation Now pool and just search out the games that I enjoyed playing back in the previous generation and then just go from there.
And think about it, how many of the games that you're playing that you play on these systems that you're going to replay again? Just think about it. Like,
that's true also.
my PlayStation 3 is at my parents' house, and I go down there and every so once in a while I'll throw in a game, but it's usually the same game.
Yeah.
That I'll usually throw in there. I won't have a whole stack of games there. I'll only throw in the one game because that's the only one I have fun playing.
Right.
I'm like, so, like, bottom line is, I think that they keep coming up with the content that they're coming out with. I don't think I'll have a need or kind of a want at that point to go backwards in a sense, unless I really feel nostalgic one day and I'm like, you know what? Like I said, I'm just going to buy it because that's just the way I am. But I also keep my systems. I'm not one of those people where I give away my system to get a new system.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm hurting myself in that point because if I really want to be able to go backwards, I just plug in the old system. And that's how I play my games.
And I finally learned from that mistake myself because once I gave up, I gave up my PS3 for a PS2 for a PS3 because at the time the big boy was backwards compatible. So I was like, okay, screw it. I don't need a PS2 anymore. I can play my PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games on here. I'm straight. But then the Slim came out and that eliminated that. So I ended up having to give away my PlayStation 2 and 1 games, which I really wish I hadn't done. But it is what it is. So like I said, I still have my PS3 and I got my PS4. So at no point am I going to be getting rid of any console anytime soon. So so at this point it's like backwards compatibility, like while it's a novel idea, like you said, at this point there's probably like maybe a handful of games that you will probably go back to. And not to mention the fact that they're still on this remake kick, which they're doing with a lot of games. Yeah, there's no point.
They keep putting them back out.
We already got the Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3. We already got Final Fantasy 7. I know there's more on the way. So at this point right now, there really is no point to go backwards compatible.
Exactly. It's like the Kingdom Hearts right there. Yeah. What did they do before they put out the last Kingdom Hearts? 1.5, 2.5. Yep. So you literally had all those games on 2 discs.
Yeah.
So you literally were able to play them. So same thing with BioShock. They put the BioShocks together, and that was a whole thing. So definitely. So right now at this point, we're going in, like I said, we were talking about originally, or before we were talking about, the production in Japan right now is a little bit slow due to the pandemic right now. And it's, and like I said, it's pissing me off just a little bit because when the pandemic happened, before the pandemic happened, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to take my tax money, and when I get my tax money, I'm going to go buy a Nintendo Switch. Because I've been craving a Nintendo Switch for forever. Well, this happened. I didn't get my tax money before the pandemic hit. Oof. And guess what? You can't find a Nintendo Switch for under $600. I'll say about $500 now.
Wow.
I'll help you out because I was able to get one recently for $300. Yeah, I'll help you find a spot. It's on Amazon. You got to dig.
Okay, I'll listen for you because I've been looking for. I'm like, and not a light. Don't get me wrong. You can find them all over the place.
Yeah, there's a light.
And I don't want a light because I can get that from Target. I don't want that. I want an actual Switch. And the problem with the Switch is that when the pandemic happened, people went out and they basically swarmed out and bought them. And the reason why is because Japan can't produce anything right now. What's going on is that because China went first in the pandemic and everybody was being held, a lot of their production comes from a lot of these Asian countries that have been pretty much locked down.
Yep.
So a lot of their parts, everything are coming from there. Mm-hmm. So they can't do anything, and the production is slowed down, and they can't put anything back in the market because of this. So due to this, people are legitimately the people that actually bought it, and I'll call them scalpers for the most part, because really you had no intention of using the product. You had the intention of buying it to resell it.
Gouges.
55% increase in most cases.
Yep.
It's insane. The markup is so much, but Nintendo's trying to produce that, they're saying they're going to produce about 22 million more units by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. We'll see if that happens. I know a lot of places are now reopening, as far as like Shanghai, things of that nature. Those places are starting to reopen again. So hopefully that'll help with the production of that. But I'm like, for me, a person who like legitimately like has wanted one before the pandemic, not because I'm stuck at home, it's just because I wanted a Switch for forever, and I just finally came to the conclusion I'm going to buy it. Now I can't get it, and I'm not going to settle and to pay $600 for a Switch,
right?
When I know it's only worth about half of that. But that makes me jealous because of the fact that Joss actually has a Switch.
I got mine at launch, and I was like this close to getting the Animal Crossing one because it just looks like so cute.
It's so
and
adorable.
I wanted it, but then like pre-order sold out too quick, and then I was like, I don't even need it because I already have a Switch. Like I was so close to just going and buying another one. Like the GameStop near my store had one in stock, but I was the only manager working, so I was like really like, can I technically close the store for maybe like 10 minutes? This GameStop sucks though. It's going to take an hour for me to go over there just to buy the system. They don't know where any of their stuff is. Like it's going to take forever. I should just go ahead and get this Switch. And I flipped the coin while I was in the store. My staff is sitting there laughing. I was ready to give them my debit card. I'm like, yo, just go buy the Switch for me. I have these coupons, use my power up, whatever. And like I called them just to make sure they still had it. They said yes, but that they had a line and only 2 people were working because that GameStop sucks. And it always has. And then I was like, you know what? It's a sign. I don't need another Switch, so I didn't buy it. But like I have it. My nephew is like obsessed with it. Like anytime I go over, it's just always like, oh, where's your Switch? Like, oh, not even for me. Just where's the Switch? Because he wants to play Mario Odyssey. He wants to play Luigi's Mansion. He wants to play Mario Kart. Like I'm playing Animal Crossing, and he's like over my shoulder, being like, "This is boring. Let's play Mario Odyssey." But I'm playing Animal Crossing. So,
yeah, but I don't see what the obsession is with Animal Crossing. I maybe because I'm not playing it. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not in the loop. Maybe if I get in the loop,
I'm in the same daggone loop. I'm in the same daggone loop. I'm like, I don't understand what's so popular about it either. But it's what's streaming right now. People are streaming the gameplay of it. I'm like, look.
I don't get it.
I can't get into it. I've been trying
I still don't know how to explain it.
Like, look,
that's what I explained to my wife. Like, at first she wanted it, and I bought her Switch too, and my daughter really wants it. Then she watched me play, and she's like, I don't really care for this. What are you doing? I'm like, it's just life.
Every generation has their game. You had the World of Warcraft. You had the what's the game? I think it begins with an F.
Fortnite.
Farmville.
Farmville, Fortnite, and now it's Animal Crossing. I think I don't know. I think after Halo, I just fell off. I think maybe. But
the thing is, it's like it's not even like comparable. I call it like the Farmville because basically is what it is. It's like you're basically just like I don't know. It's weird. I'm like and I see people play it, and I'm like I have no interest in this whatsoever. This is like boring. It's like you watch me play The Sims. Like,
well, that's essentially what Animal Crossing is. It's Sims, but it's just like cutesy. So it's like, ooh, look, I just got this like one thing by surprise to make this wooden log table. Now I want the entire set, so then that way I could make my room just a theme of nothing but wooden log anything. And I cannot finish a kitchen for the life of me because I got one thing that I liked, and I have not found any of the other pieces. So it's like I'm not going to have a kitchen in my house anymore because I can't find all the pieces that I want. But it's just that's the thing. You'll see one thing that's cute, and then you want to keep moving on to the next. And then there's like a star rating for your island, so you're kind of like, do I want to max it out? Do you want to have the layout perfect? Like how much can you do to it? So like I'm just planting gardens and going back and forth. That's
oh my god,
the game. And then of course you want money so you could be able to pay for everything, because you have to pay off your home loans to be able to expand, and it just keeps you going with like, I just need this one last thing.
Wow.
So it's more of like a completionist type of game. If you like collecting stuff, then it kind of gets you stuck in there. So like I like collecting things in games, so I'll sit there and I'll waste time like looking through every corner. Like I'm 19 hours in on Final Fantasy and I'm only on chapter 6 because I keep looking at every corner to try to see if there's hidden
like I'm the same way too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes.
I'm the same way too. I do the same thing too, but like I'd rather use a Buster Sword than like play with some animals and stuff like that.
Yes.
But like
that's where I'm at right now. That's because I couldn't get it. I'm like I see people watching it and they're like they just kind of just leisurely walking around. It's like for me that's like Minecraft for me. Like I can't watch people like Minecraft.
No, I can't. I can't do it either. I can't do that either.
Yeah, I'm like Minecraft for me is like mindless. It's like it's mind numbing. But it's like I never understood it. But I'm like for me I'm like my whole draw to like the Switch was like, oh, I want to play like, Luigi's Mansion. That was like my biggest thing right there. I wanted to play Luigi's Mansion. I wanted to play, the Mario Kart. I wanted to play. I'm just thinking like, why? Why must you do this to me, Nintendo? Why must you do this? Like, and you can't get the light because you want the one that you can play on the TV.
Right. Oh no, I gotta.
I think me and Josh were talking about it too.
I gotta try to convince my younger brother to get his daughter a Switch because she wants a Switch. She wants one
so that you could play.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
She called you out. You know that, right?
Huh?
She just called you out.
If you're gonna be real, let's be real. Like, because I don't own anything Nintendo right now. The only thing that's close to a Nintendo is our Retron that we got. That's the closest thing to it. But other than that, I bought,
You even have a DS?
Nah.
Oh.
Like me and my brothers, we pitched in and we got our niece. We got her a Wii U, but I think that might have been a little bit too late. And the only thing she uses the Wii U for is to watch Netflix and YouTube. That's really all she uses.
That's the only thing. That's the best thing to do with a Wii U at this point is to watch Netflix.
Like she'll
at this point when it came out,
she'll play like.
But how long ago was that? Because she's 9 now. She was really young when you got it for her. So it might have been a little bit too early.
Yeah, I think so too. I think because we bought her the Wii U with the Mario, like what I forgot what Mario game was out at the time, but we got her
like
that
Mario
one.
Deluxe.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly which one we got for her. She'll play like Nintendo Land here and there and stuff if she wants to play something, because I'll admit Nintendo Land actually has some pretty good like mini games and stuff. So because she's not a real big gamer, like I said, she'll watch JoJo Siwa on her Wii U. That's what she be doing. That's what she be doing. Like that and Netflix. My Netflix, by the way. She's using my Netflix because I put it on there for her so she can have something to watch. And now my whole family got Netflix. Oh yeah,
that was wild. We went on Netflix and we saw all these new profiles. I'm like, who this?
So like apparently my niece got bored one day, so she added me, she added my nephew, she added my mom, she added her dad. But it's all good.
He's 2, by the way. I don't know why he needs his own Netflix account.
So, like, I mean, it's all
watch all his
yours.
Yeah,
exactly. So you don't get suggestions and recommendations for all the cartoons he's watching.
But it was
the same thing for my daughter. She had a profile since she was like 1.5.
But essentially, it was a good quid pro quo though, because they got my Netflix, and thankfully to my younger brother, we got Disney Plus. So it was a pretty good, decent trade off. I was finally able to catch The Mandalorian. So
Right.
And just the other day, just to get off topic a little bit, I finally watched The Rise of Skywalker. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about it.
No talking anyway. Okay. No talkie.
I started watching.
Uh-oh.
I started watching the live-action Lion King remake. I don't think I'm going to finish it.
I didn't even bother. I didn't even bother.
I don't think I can finish it. It's
trash.
Wait till you get to Aladdin.
Aladdin was hard to get through.
Wait till you get to Aladdin.
I haven't watched any of those live action because, especially Lion King, because I'm like, it's not live action. It's just another animation.
Yeah. No. Aladdin was definitely mostly live action, but it was a rough watch.
Look, man. If my Jafar ain't evil, I don't want it. If he don't look evil, I don't want it. Jafar gotta look like the Arabian Shang Tsung, and he don't look that way in the live action movie. I ain't trying to hear that.
I'm not even gonna talk. No, I'm still stuck on Will. But that's a whole different scenario.
Cartoons, Broadway plays, cool, but no movies.
Well, and if you see the Broadway play, you'd understand why this rendition sucks even more.
I don't think I've seen any full live action remake yet. I'm really trying to think. I've actually watched one from beginning to end. I don't think I have.
I haven't even.
I'm only looking forward to Mulan.
But
so you're looking forward to Mulan?
Yeah.
I mean, I am only looking forward to that because they got a lot of flack for their casting.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I'm looking forward to that, because they had to stop gentrifying their characters, and that's what they have to understand. They have to pull that back. But that's another conversation within itself again.
But like I said,
back to Joss, right? So any games you're looking forward to playing?
Honestly, I kind of fell back on looking at any new release data because everything gets pushed back. So I got tired of getting excited for anything. Literally, the only game I have pre-ordered is Bayonetta 3.
Oh my god, I love Bayonetta.
And everything else, especially because I have Game Pass and I don't play anything at launch anymore, with the exception of Final Fantasy Remake, Persona 5 Royal, and Animal Crossing, I feel like I could wait for things to go on sale or for it to pop up on Game Pass. Unless if there's an extreme exclusive or some weird price glitch that I could get the thing for, then I'm in for it. Even Final Fantasy, that when I pre-ordered it, there was a price glitch on Amazon, so I got the deluxe, but it was only $50 for me.
What?
But
I'm jealous.
Amazon messed up and decided not to deliver the package, so they had to basically give me an additional $50, so then that way I could get it through a different way. So I pretty much paid $20 for Final Fantasy Remake because they messed up. That was a very long 3 days of me arguing with them about going to get my package. But yeah, there's nothing really that I'm looking forward to. Last of Us 2, I'll play out of because I played the first one, but it's not necessarily I need that at launch.
Right.
That was leaked too, all the information for that.
I haven't. But again, I
haven't
don't
seen it.
The whole script got leaked.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the same. I think it was the same day that they announced the new date for it, which was only 3 weeks after the pushback. But that was more for the distribution centers couldn't print enough discs, so that's why they pushed it back.
Yeah.
But the same day that they announced the new date is when everything got leaked for the story.
Wow. And
I didn't look at any of it because I'm well, it's easy for me to just avoid that stuff because, again, I don't really care that much about the game.
Right.
And the only thing that changed for me, I was going to tweet Naughty Dog and be like, hey, the game releases on my birthday. You should just give me a code. But
should have.
So now,
you probably should have.
Xenoblade comes out on that day, even though I know I'm never going to play Xenoblade Chronicles, whatever version this is, but it's I should just get the game for free because it's releasing on my birthday. Let me see how many people I can tweet on release days of stuff. But
by that theory, I should have got Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
just to be honest, like if you reach out to companies, like whether you do like shows, streams, you blog or whatever, if you reach out to companies, they will give you stuff for free. Like I've gotten free games from EA. You can get like free products, grips and stuff like that, and not be an affiliate or anything like that, not have to promote it. You're just like, oh, I want to try this out, da 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 da. And it's up to them. The worst thing they're going to say is no. But usually, like, for instance, EA is big on doing stuff like that because they had their EA and they kind of have to get into the good eye somehow.
And I am a slave to EA, unfortunately. I am a slave. And it's only because of one. It's only because of one game I become a slave.
Which game?
Sims.
Oh.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
It was
big.
Goodness. Yeah, no. EA has got me so much money into Sims. So much money. Lost, gone, forever. And they keep putting out packs. I mean, Maxis keeps putting out packs, and I'm just like, okay, $40, no problem. Okay.
One thing they do too is that if you mention that you're doing a show or a video on them, they do actively, their community managers actively watch like streams and shows and stuff. So like I had an opportunity one time where we got to play with devs in game on the stream. It was nuts. Like they took us to a room where they were in full control of the servers. They were doing hacks and stuff, and we're like floating around in battlefields, shooting each other from the sky. Like it was crazy.
I'm gonna have to look into that, man, because there are some games that I would really like to stream, but it costs money. So I'm gonna have to check some of these people out, man. I'm gonna have to hit up Ed Boon real quick and let me get that Aftermath expansion pack
for free. One email and just change the company name. Like, hey, I'm blah blah blah. And then insert name here, insert company here.
Yeah, just make sure you insert name, because otherwise, if you just
that might have to be a thing May 26th. While I was having technical difficulties, did you guys, by any chance, talk about the latest addition to Mortal Kombat 11?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Okay, they talked about it. Okay. RoboCop versus Terminator. There we go.
Yep. I am impressed with Ed Boon in getting certain voice actors for these characters. I mean, I thought it was crazy that he got Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa to voice Shang Tsung for the game. And put his likeness to it. I thought that was amazing. But, I mean, he couldn't get Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Terminator, which would have been great. Honestly speaking, I think he could have got Will Sasso to do it, because Will Sasso does a great Schwarzenegger, but that's neither here nor there. But the fact that he got Keith David to voice Spawn, which was
there you go,
perfection. Nice. I thought that was great.
Always,
because he's the definitive Spawn voice, especially from the animated series. But
Keith David loves that role.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too.
For Soul Calibur too.
Yeah. I think they got Peter Weller for RoboCop as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they?
I think so. I gotta look into that. You might have to look up right now. Hold on, wait a second. Y'all can talk amongst yourselves. Hold on, real quick. Hold on.
Talk about just set us up with a conversation. Say, hold on, please hold.
Voice actors, they're the best.
Yeah, seriously.
Yep. Yeah, they got Peter Weller for the voice for RoboCop for the game. So that is just brilliant.
Drop your weapons, or there will be trouble.
So that's going to be very brilliant when that comes out. That's gonna be very brilliant. But as far as I
just have a weird question. Like, what is everybody's favorite genre of game?
That's tough.
I'm gonna have to say that I'm still very much a fighting game person. I'm still like, I enjoy adventure games. Like, trust and believe, I will go back to Sonic 3 and Knuckles in a heartbeat. In fact, I did during the pandemic. I already did. I will still play, side-scrolling games, things like God of War, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
If you had to play one game, like if you had to play one type of game for the rest of your life, you can only choose one type. What would you choose?
Fighting games.
First war.
I would probably choose platform, like Mario and Sonic.
Action RPGs.
No,
go ahead. I would say action RPGs, because it's just you have a whole world with most of those. Like, there's so many things you do.
I'm in agreement with that one. I'm totally in agreement with that. What about you, Harold?
First-person adventures or first-person shooters or first-person horror. It could be third-person as well, but anything that like puts me in an atmosphere where I'm doing something and I'm interacting and I'm up against incredible odds and stuff like that. That's got a story, like the Resident Evils, whether it's a third-person view or first-person view. So first-person and in the horror genre.
Mm-hmm. All right, Joss.
At first, I was going to say music rhythm games, but then I remember how much I rage quit when I can't get a certain score on certain tracks. So, like I'm sitting here like looking at my games, and I'm like, oh, I would always put no. I would always, but I don't. It's like a toss up between being RPG or puzzle games, because I feel like a lot of newer puzzle games now have found a way to like mix in either being a platformer or being something else that they could tell a story as well.
Right.
Compared to an RPG, there's such cookie cutter, like, hey, chapter 1, go like pick up this cat. Here's the final chapter, destroy God. Like, like everything you did from the beginning absolutely did not matter, because now here's like this completely, like, a lot of RPGs just feel like that they jumped the shark. And it was like, why am I even doing this anymore? Like, I committed so much, so why don't I keep going? So, like, Octopath Traveler, like, I like that game, but 3 of the characters I could not stand, so I haven't beat it yet, because there's just 3 characters I don't want to play with, but you have to play with all 8 to finish the game. Mm-hmm. So I'm stuck at that point, because, like, man, I did all the good ones, and now I have you 3 that I cared nothing about your story. So like RPGs are tough. So I think I'll go puzzle, only because they keep implementing different ways of playing.
Yeah, something that makes you think,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. I mean, but yeah, I think definitely anything that has to do with like role playing or adventure, getting out there in an open world environment for me. I think because I feel as though I'm always finding something, or trying to find a new interaction. Like even with like Fallout now, I'm playing Fallout 4 and I'm still trying to go back in and go, okay, what did I miss? Beat the game, but what did I miss? So, trying to find those little corners and, and even like the add-ons and stuff like that. Like We Happy Few, like right now I'm playing that game.
Oh, such a great game.
Yes.
That game.
Yeah, We Happy Few. And that was actually on sale too. That was on sale for like, you could have got it for like $5 last month. Yeah. And I started that. I had actually got that when it was on PC, when they originally were just developing the game, and they were slowly developing it, and they just had, you purchased it and you just got a portion of the game. And I remember that, playing that for PC. And then I went and got it for the PlayStation, and there's a lot of people that don't like the game. I love it because it has a whole mix of like puzzle and adventure, and you have to figure out certain things, you have to play certain characters, and you play as different characters each time you replay the game, which I like. So definitely, stuff like that will keep me interested for a while, because I think it'll just keep me going. But I mean, it's definitely it's an interesting thing what's happening during the pandemic right now. And as far as, the gaming industry, what's going on, and, how it's had an effect on everything.
I do think the gaming industry has a better handle on this situation as opposed to like the film industry. Because, because at least with the video game industry, the developers,
people can still work from home.
Exactly the point.
Right.
Exactly. Right. So like it's not like the film industry where they got to halt production because social distancing is paramount to a lot of things right now. So me and Tiny were just talking about this the other day about certain series where the season finale has to be like reworked because they can't air it because they didn't film it, which is weird because it's like, you guys have been working on the show, like you guys have like all these breaks and all this stuff. Like, why are you guys not working on the show? At least to try to finish it. I think I remember like I remember being younger, like shows were like very long. Their seasons were like very long, and they got everything in. Whether there was like a writer's strike or whatever. I mean, a writer's strike is one thing. I know that can mess up a lot of things. Like it messed up Heroes for like for around that time. But
I remember that.
I think.
It didn't mess with Lost though.
Huh?
It didn't mess with Lost though. Just saying.
Lost.
As I look at my season 2 and 3 because my brother stole my season 1.
I love Lost until the last season. I loved it until the last season.
So
JJ.
So I definitely think the video game industry can definitely still come out on top during all this craziness and stuff, because people are still going to buy games. That just goes without saying.
But do you think as well, because like I said, a lot of people now are without jobs, and people are now, not working. A lot of people are relying on unemployment, stuff like that. Do you think eventually it's going to have an effect? Because I know everybody just got this stimulus, and the stimulus is being poured back into the industry. But once the stimulus is over, 2-3 months down the line, do you think that these people are still going to be buying games?
I do think there's going to be.
They could.
I mean,
there's the argument. There's the argument now that people on unemployment are getting paid more than their regular job than what they get paid at their regular jobs, and they're getting that unemployment until at least the end of July.
I mean, you also got to factor in that Sony, Microsoft, they're implementing a lot of things to help people, play so they can stay home. We've talked about the Game Pass.
The free games,
the free games. Like if you're like a PlayStation Plus person, I am. So you get 2 free games every month. So there's that. Again, the PlayStation Now, the Game Pass and stuff. So they're doing great.
Even with the PlayStation, they gave out was it Drake's the Uncharted collection and Journey.
Yeah. So I do think they're making great strides that they can afford to make. That's the key thing. They can afford to make these strides, because people are gonna have a little bit more time to play than they are gonna have to watch something. Unless you're watching something that's like a multi-episode type deal, you can binge it, but you're gonna eventually want to take a break. But games, genuinely, people don't take. Games you usually don't take a break from if you need to, unless your hands getting cramped, or you need something to drink, or you need something to eat, and even so, you're still gonna try to do that while you're still gaming. So,
you gotta take a shower. You have to take a shower, people. Okay, we have to take showers.
It's amazing. I mean, it's always.
And if you weren't taking showers before, you definitely should start taking showers now. I truly believe one of the reasons why this pandemic has spread so quickly is because the general public is disgusting. Yeah. So start being more hygienic, people.
I'll tell you right now, it still amazes me, even at 36 years old, and I thought this way as a kid. It's just amazing how the hours can pass by when you're playing a game. It's insane when you think about it, because I remember being a kid playing Sonic. I would start playing at 5, and it'd be 11, and it's where the hell did the time go? How did this happen?
And what's funny? Somebody did ask me a question, and it was somebody I know. They asked me a question. Said, how long was my longest game binge?" And I said, with breaks, I was 48 hours.
Wow.
Ooh.
I think my longest.
That reminds me.
I don't think I reminds me of the time.
That reminds me of the time when I was younger, when I first got my Resident Evil. It was back in 1996. I had a PS1, and brother, I tell you, when that dog jumped through that window,
forget that dog. Forget that dog.
I played that thing all the way up to the wee hours, and it was just a dirty feeling. And I just, I ordered me some Domino's. I ordered me the Domino's, the small pie with the pepperoni on it. And I was munching, and well, y'all know.
I just say something about Resident Evil. When I was a kid, when Resident Evil 2 came out, that was the first one I got. I was so scared of that game that I hid the case underneath other games. I put Crash Bandicoot on top because my theory was Crash Bandicoot is so happy that it's going to cancel out every scary thing.
I remember Resident Evil. I remember my first encounter with Resident Evil was my last encounter with Resident Evil.
I remember.
I love horror to death. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I mean, the VR doesn't bother me as much, but something about playing a horror video game when you have the handheld in your hand and you're sitting up there staring at the screen, your mind goes to a totally different place. And you're not expecting that dog to jump through the window like I saw when I was a kid, and I freaked out and threw the controller and ran out the room.
Yes.
I'm so scared of them, but horror movies, horror experiences, like I'm a calm, collected person, but I have a bunch of video clips from, it's one real clip on my YouTube from Resident Evil 3 remake, and I'm screaming like a little girl. Like, it was like
I remember when
Dad, I'm like, I have never been able to play, and I can get through some of them. I remember that one time that when Uncharted actually what's the word I'm looking for, tricked me into playing a horror game. Mm-hmm. And I know you guys who played Uncharted know where I'm at right now. I didn't play that game for 2 years. Wow. 2 years. It took me that long to go back to go, okay, you know what? We have to finish this. We have to finish what we started, Kim, okay? Because we can't just leave this here.
Don't feel bad, because I didn't finish the original Silent Hill, because after I saw the nurses without the faces and they're moving like this, I said, no, I'm putting this down. No. Then like 3 years, I think about 3 or 4 years later, I did complete Silent Hill. I did. So yay me. But the one game that I was not able to finish was Alien Isolation, and I love Alien. I love the whole Alien thing. And my 360 crapped out and would not play the damn disc.
Wow.
That's the only reason why I didn't finish it.
I don't know, man. I must be different because horror games don't scare me. Like, I remember when the first Resident Evil came out, and all my friends at school was talking about yo, I was scared as hell playing this game. Like, so me and Paris rented it. Like, so we playing Resident Evil 1 in the dark. We turned off all the lights. So I'm like, so we out here like, okay, let's see what this shit's about. Like, I'm like, I wasn't scared. I don't understand. So like, I don't know, man.
You probably because you had somebody in there. When I played Resident Evil, nobody was in the room with me. There was nobody in the room with me.
That's
but
bravery.
Me and the TV. Okay? And I'll tell you right now that when I threw that controller and ran, I did not look back.
Wow.
Fight or flight kicked in.
Oh man.
There was a short fad in Japan where people would play Resident Evil with nothing but a knife.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah, there's people, there's speed runs like that, yeah. Like that.
They just do it. I mean, go guy.
There's a lot of speed runs like that. There's people that do a lot of that stuff, and more power to y'all. But absolutely not. If I get to a hard part in the game, I won't sleep for 3 days. I'm good. I don't need that type of negativity. I don't need in my life. No.
Close your eyes and shoot. That's all.
I'm good. I'm like, so yeah.
I don't need the zombies in my life.
Absolutely, exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing. I'm the biggest, like, and I have a friend who'll tell you, we went to Halloween Horrors in Universal, and I was not scared. I was stoic the entire time. You could not scare me. I'm like, but yet and still, I can't play a video game that's hard to save my life.
Oh,
at all. But yeah, definitely. I mean, oh goodness. But yeah, this is like, I mean, what is? And I was going back to the original question I was going to ask before. What was the longest binge play that you guys have had? Because you already heard mine.
It was about 8 hours. It was about 8 hours on Resident Evil. It was about 8 hours. I mean, to the wee hours of the morning when the sun was coming out. I'm like, am I that bad? Gosh.
Mine might have been 12 hours. And it was interesting because it was a game I would never thought I would play for that long. It was Def Jam Fight for New York. Like I got the game, and I don't remember what time I started playing it, but for some reason I just kept playing. And it's like, why am I playing this until like 12 o'clock in the next day? Like I think I started playing it at like 9 or 10 on a Friday night. I went all the way until Saturday afternoon playing this game straight, like no sleep. I was like, why the hell did I do this? And that was just story mode. Like it was literally just me creating my character, and then just me just playing through the story mode the whole time, and then just doing other stuff. I was like, why on earth did I do this? And I don't even think I've ever played Sonic that long. Like, and Sonic is my game. I've never played it that long, but for some reason, Def Jam Fighting for New York just kept me up for like a whole 12 hours for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but I think that's my.
Ice-T made me laugh. Ice-T made me laugh.
I have no idea how long my longest binge was. I mean, as an adult, I definitely have never had a long, long hours of play. But as a kid, I don't know, probably all day, so 8-9 hours maybe. And I think, and the only reason why I say that is because when I told you about the time my cousin erased Donkey Kong, and when I got it back, it just really bothered me and gave me like massive anxiety that this game was no longer, finished. So I had to finish it. I had to play it and beat it and finish it again. So that probably was the longest gameplay. And if I had to take a guess, it probably took all day. So probably 8 or 9 hours.
Wow.
Well, Joss, what about you?
I feel like kind of embarrassed to say that I know the average is possibly 14 hours, but on different types of games, it always depends on how into something I am.
Oh yeah.
So like, RPGs are instantly out because I tend to get what I call RPG sleep. So like if it just happens to be like one extra text box, like I'll fall asleep with the controller in my hand. And
wow.
And I'm still like, oh, it's my turn to attack. So I get RPG sleep sometimes. But if it's like an action adventure game, so like when what game was it? Rise of the Tomb Raider. Like that one I was just playing like straight because like I happened to have like 2 days off from work and I was just playing it and trying to collect everything. And of course I'm looking at the things that I can't get yet because you need to unlock a different weapon to be able to get there. Right. So I'm always struggling and wasting time trying to just get the thing that I can't. So like Tomb Raider easily. Animal Crossing, unfortunately. 11 hours, I want to say, of me just playing. Batman, and actually all of the Batman games. So like Arkham Knight, Arkham City, that was like easy, that I was just sitting there and just playing constantly.
That's because of the unlockables though for that one, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you get motion sickness when you played Batman?
Huh?
No.
Did you?
I know. When Arkham City, Arkham, was it the most recent one? Whatever the most recent one is.
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight. I can't play it.
Really?
Yeah.
I cannot play it. I get very sick playing it. I cannot play it.
What makes you guys sick?
I think it's the Batmobile. Sickness. Oh my god, the Batmobile, like the motion of it for some reason is. Yeah,
because it moves sideways. It's not just driving straight. Like it kind of throws off your how you know a car should move.
No, it's when I swing and glide from building to building, and that's when I get the motion sickness. And when I was playing, the first 2 games that I bought for PS1 was the original Resident Evil and a first-person shooter called Alien Trilogy, which is a first-person shooter that's based in the Alien universe. And I would go from Resident Evil to Alien Trilogy, and as I'm playing, I would get this crazy motion sickness.
Yeah,
I would think
actually, that's the reason why I don't play. That's the reason why I don't play first-person shooters, because it started way back with 007 for N60, either N64 or Super Nintendo. I can't even remember. And I used to play that and some other game that was like that involved you being a dinosaur. I can't even remember the name of the damn game.
Was it Turok or
Turok?
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah. And
Turok.
So 007 and Turok, we used to, my cousin and I used to play, and I just couldn't explain it. I'm like, I have a headache. What's going on? And I came to the conclusion that it was the game. So ever since then, like, when Call of Duty came out and all this other stuff, I thought it was so cool, but it was first person shooter, so I didn't even try to play those games.
And it's
you
funny.
might be able to play them today because they have like motion blur and stuff like that to help with it. But
you know what's funny though?
I got you. I get you.
But it's funny because she's really good at time crisis, which is the other thing. I don't know if that's a
Love
different.
Time Crisis doesn't move that fast.
It's a rail shooter.
That's
it doesn't
true.
move that fast.
That's true also.
And there used to, speaking of games like that, I think it's different because, I don't know, I'm moving and the screen's not moving. I think with me standing still and watching the screen go.
Yeah.
It's different from me moving around and moving with the game. I'm assuming, but there actually used to be this other game I used to play in the arcade called Police 911, and I used to love that game. My cousin and I, you had to physically duck. Like, with Time Crisis, you press a little lever and you duck. With Police 911, you had to physically duck and then shoot people. We thought it was so cool.
I remember
That's why I said I cannot wait to start going to gun ranges. Start getting over gun ranges. I feel like I'd be an awesome marksman.
I remember that game.
Yeah, back on top, because we didn't get Frankie's answer to that question. How many hours have you spent in game? Come on.
I surprisingly haven't done much. It's been, I would say the one I remember is 12 hours in Minecraft, which I don't like. And it was the first time I played Minecraft. I describe it as video game heroin because you just like the whole time.
I don't like it that long.
It's because it's like she was saying earlier. It's mind numbing. Like you get into it and there's no direction. You can do whatever you want, and so you just start digging or building, and then like all of a sudden it was the morning. I didn't eat lunch. It was like the sun went down. I would turn around. I'm like, yo, it's dark out.
That's funny. I'm like, I kind of feel bad now that I spent 48 hours in a game.
Yeah.
No, don't feel bad.
Hey,
if
whatever.
you have time.
I did it to myself.
That's back in my younger days. I was back in those days when I can actually do that. Now if I try to do that, I'm gonna end up in the ER or something like that. I can't do that no more.
Well, you gotta, it's almost like with a lot of these games, you gotta like clock into play. It's like okay, I gotta like do this, then I gotta play. I got set time to play this. Gotta give myself like a couple of hours to play it, and then I gotta jump out. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, but it all depends because it's like like to just binge out on the game. Like it has to be like a game that you really, really, really want to play in order to binge out on it. Like that's the way I see it.
That's one of the reasons why I started streaming was just to give myself a schedule to play. Right. Because I realized I was like playing so inconsistently. I was like, I want to play games. I want to do it for a set amount of time. Like.
See, but if I could tell you how when I first played Final Fantasy VII, how many hours I put into that in the first time playing, you'd probably be like, "What's wrong with you?"
I don't even remember
how long.
I started. I remember exactly. I started 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I ended 12 o'clock in the afternoon the next day.
Wow.
I don't even think I lasted that long. My first go around with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't know how many hours I put in the first time I played. Like, I could probably check, like, my save post, but I don't think I can. But, like, I don't know. Like, I think over time...
You definitely didn't play that long while I was home.
No, I didn't.
So, it must have been while I've been gone.
Like, because, like, when did I beat it? I beat it, like, what, 2 weeks ago? So yeah,
and I guess I've been here for 3 weeks. So
yeah, so like that's probably what it was. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you guys, it's been awesome. This has been a really good conversation. You guys,
absolutely.
It's, great to hear from you all about what's been going on. Thank you so much to our guests today for coming in and taking the time out of your busy days to come help us out and talk about everything.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Definitely.
Make sure I think Kendrick's probably going to do that, but make sure you check out Frankie's page, check him out, definitely support him like he supported us today. It'd be really nice if you guys come and do that.
I will have the link for his channel in the description box, so once I get it, it'll be right in there so you can find it when you watch the replay of this. So definitely go. I'm gonna go subscribe to his channel after we're done with this, so I can check him out. So we're gonna be good to go.
And if anyone wants to play with us, if you want to, I said I have my PlayStation Network. So does Kendrick. If you guys want to shout those out really quick,
like you can. I'm same thing. Dreadlock Blurred on PlayStation. Thank God they allowed you to change your name on PlayStation. I was so happy when they did that.
Why?
Nice.
Before, because I wanted to change it. Like the name I have for myself, I didn't want to use anymore, so I wanted to change it. But Dreadlock Blerd, you can find me, whenever I'm on there. So, whatever.
I actually have to remember what my name is. I forgot about it.
You can find me on PlayStation Network, Dark Angel 29. And Dark is spelled the same way Damien Dark spells his last name. So remember to include the H in there.
Yeah, I'll probably put mine in the description because I really don't remember what my name is because I made my name up so long ago that I don't even remember.
Oh boy. So, other than that, thank you guys all for tuning into our show this week. This was a good one, and definitely we could tell you just keep on gaming any way you can because it's a good way to pass the time at this point.
Absolutely.
If you ran out of stuff that you wanted to binge watch, games are the next best thing. This is the time for you guys to go back to games that you haven't finished. Play some games on hard mode. If you haven't played it on hard mode yet, like me.
Yeah, sure.
Things like that. Whatever games you guys are interested, that's going to be coming out soon. Try to set aside some funds for that. So you're able to get it like on the day it's released and stuff. And you can definitely join us for whatever game, whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, all that stuff. And one thing I will say, I'm going to try to stream a lot more within the next couple of days or so. So look out for that. Again, join Frankie's page, join Harold's page. Definitely follow us. And we'll be back again next week. We'll let you know what the topic of discussion will be about, and whether it's on Instagram, definitely follow us on Instagram. If you're on our Discord, definitely chat with us during our Discord so we can keep the conversation going. Of course, our YouTube channel, follow us here, and then our Facebook fan page. You can follow us on our Facebook fan page. All the stuff is in the description box below, so you can find us there. And of course, the audio for this will be up over the weekend. So definitely, whatever podcast streaming services you guys have, we're pretty much on there. So you can definitely give us a listen while you're out jogging if you do that sort of thing outside. Depending on where you live, I don't know if they
if you still go outside.
Yeah. If that's
Vitamin D is still good for you guys. Okay, step outside. Don't become don't become mole people. Okay, we do not need you having issues when the time comes out that we need you to come outside. Okay.
Exactly.
Other than that, today was a really good show. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're gonna get it right this time. We're gonna get it right this time.
All right.
We're gonna get it right this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The council. Why are we saying this slow? Why are we doing this? Why are we saying this slow?
I was trying to call Harold, but he was going way too slow.
Why are we saying?
I was slowing down for you guys.
No, let's just say it at regular speed. We won't even have to go slow. Let's do it at regular speed. And all right, okay. 5.
What happened to Kendrick just saying the council and the rest of us saying has spoken?
All right, you want to do that?
Right?
All right, we want to do it that way? All right. All right, here we go. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The council.
The council
has spoken.
We'll catch you guys next time.
I told you choir rehearsal. They missed choir rehearsal on Tuesday. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. I tried to set this up. It didn't happen. Okay.
Man, listen, we're gonna have to have church lady up in here. All right. Peace out, guys.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye, y'all.
You were watching Council